Development Center. A quick introduction of what Nichub is and what we do. We are simply a capacity development center, just as the name implies. And the goal, our vision, is to help young Africans build their capacity to achieve their desires. We are targeting at helping them to become role models, and we create platforms for them to be able to build capacity in terms of their career, professional life, and also personal growth. So Fireside Chat is one of the projects that we do, and we run every month. Last month we had a very wonderful session talking about moving um, from talent to income, talking about how to convert your ideas into ventures, and it was very awesome time last week discussion. Somebody say it was like a mini MBA, which I don't actually disagree with. It was an awesome session. So if in case you want to, in case that is something you want to listen to, that is something that you want to find out, please, you can always reach out to us, reach out back to the mail that you received today, or if you're on WhatsApp, if you're on the WhatsApp, from the WhatsApp channel, you can always indicate, then we can send you the link to the group. And for those that have already registered before joining us, the link to this recording in form of podcast will also be shared with you. So that is exactly what we are. So today we have with us our amiable guest. Please, can you give me a second? Let me pull out the bio real quick. I'll be right back. Sorry, guys, for that breaking transmission. So tonight we are privileged to have someone who, after going through his bio, actually, this is the first time I'm meeting Chukwu, and I was like, wow, why haven't I met you before now? Because it's somebody that's going to speak from wealth of experience based on what we are talking about. So a quick look into him. Otuto Chukwu is currently undertaking his doctoral studies in health and policy at the Institute of Health Policy Management and Evaluation at the University of Toronto. He's a Nigerian, he's licensed pharmacist and a multiple award-winning scholar and social impact innovator with over a decade of experience in health system strengthening and policy research in sub-Saharan Africa. His PhD research is on cancer control policy, where he is specially exploring strategies to expand access to cancer control services in low and middle income countries. Wow. I would love to know what the outcome of this PhD is because it's already getting very interesting. So over the past decade, he has worked for various international development organizations, including UNICEF, WHO, and the United States Pharmacopoeias, promoting the quality of medicine and program in Nigeria. He's also experienced in high-level experience in high-level national stakeholder engagement and policymaking, having worked in Nigeria Parliament for over half a decade. He has won several international research grants and has published extensively in areas of policy, health system strengthening, and reform. He holds several scholarships and awards, including the Venier Scholar, the Junior Fellow at the Mercy College, a Fellow of the prestigious United States Government Mandela Washington Fellowship for Young African Leaders, an Associate Fellow of the Royal Commonwealth Society, and has won the 2023 Michael Decter Award of Health Leadership and Policy in Canada. Oh my God! I think this is the point we need to unmute and at least give him first of all a round a round of applause, please. You can unmute and give him a round of applause. Wow! 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 Thank you. Wow! This is a very wonderful one, Chukwu, and it's such a great privilege tonight to be able to glean from the secret behind all these achievements within a very short time. So it's going to be like a discussion forum. It's a fireside chat. So you are officially on hot seat right now because there's going to be an aspect of fire. So let's start with we have read about you. We have seen what you do, but we want to know why. Why are you doing this? Like, what's your strong why as a person? Let's start from there. You're welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Nicholas, for having me, and for putting me in this hot seat. And your intro about last session did not help matters. So now I have to like measure up. So why do I do what I do? I think I'm one of those people that was or that is fortunate enough to have discovered their purpose early in life. So I think one of the reasons why I'm here is to make people's lives better. And so my family background also kind of like influenced my decision to use improvement in healthcare as a way of making people's lives better. As a young child, I was always happy when my actions or what I do make my siblings or people that were around me happy. So it kind of like gave me that sense of purpose that actually you are here to make the world a better place for other people. So there is this mantra I live by, that in a world where I can be anything, I should choose to be kind, right? So that's what drives me. That's why I do what I do. And because of the people surrounding me while I was growing up, and the fact that most of them were in healthcare, that influenced my decision to move along that line to, use that as a platform to improve people's lives because, like we say, health is wealth. So that's why I do what I do. That's how I discovered how to do what I do, and I'm just here to leave the world better than I met it.
Wow. That's brilliant. So that's your strong why. You want to live the world better than you met it, and you have discovered that the health sector is that sector that you actually will be able to do all that. Wow, that's awesome. Well, let's start from you working at the a pharmacist, or if I'm not mistaken, you have a background in pharmacy, right?
Yes.
Okay, so from studying pharmacy to working at the National Assembly, first, what does your work at the National Assembly entails, and then how do you get to move from pharmacy into the National Assembly without having to lose sight of still being in the pharmaceutical field that you were trained to? I don't know if my question is clear.
Yeah, your question is clear. So yes, I'm trained as a pharmacist, and so while in pharmacy school, I always knew that I would not practice. Okay, let me not say I always knew. At some point, I made the decision that I wouldn't be practicing pharmacy the way most pharmacists practice it. So either you work in a hospital or you work in the community, or maybe you work in the industry or you detail products. I felt those were like dead end jobs because I didn't see any impact it will have on people's lives, on a large scale. Circling back to what I said about why I'm here, I was thinking about, okay, if I'm a pharmacist at a service delivery point, for instance, I mean, I'll help people get access to medications. I will advise them on how to use medications. I will support their improvement in health and all of that. But that would be one person at a time, right? Which is very relevant. But I thought about what can I do at a large scale, so that more people can be impacted at a particular time. And I started thinking towards policy when I took a course that exposed us briefly to policy. Not like we had any policy course in our curriculum, but one of those things you attend as a student that exposes you to new ideas. So I was like, okay, I can actually do something around health policy, around pharmaceutical policy. So usually when you graduate from pharmacy school, you're supposed to go for an internship, a mandatory 1 year internship for you to be able to practice, to be licensed and practice fully as a pharmacist. So I had a few options, but I decided to go for the National Assembly because they had the Health Policy Research Division, right, under the Pharmaceutical Services Department. So I felt it was an opportunity to, learn more about policy and build my career along that path. So that was what made me to apply there for my internship. And after I did my internship, they retained me to do my NYSC. So they wrote to NYSC that they want to keep me for my NYSC. So I didn't have to go through all those hassles for my NYSC. And then after that, I worked there for about 3-4 years before I finally started to move on to other things. So yes, that was what made me to pivot to health policy. So I still wanted to work around pharmacy, around healthcare, but on a large scale. Like I wanted to do things to impact people in numbers. And I felt at the time that the way I could do this was through policy. There are other ways you can do this by, of course, going into business, into philanthropy and all of that, which I still do a little bit of here and there, though I'm still starting on those things. But I felt that policy is something that I can influence, that if it's gotten right, would help to improve the health of a lot of people. For instance, health insurance policy is almost non-existent in Nigeria. Yes, we have NHIS, but how many people, right? How the quality of our health systems is really poor. We don't have a national quality on health, a national quality policy on healthcare. A lot of things that can improve in Nigeria are based on policy. Our health workforce policy is almost trash. You can see doctors, nurses living in droves. And then recently, the Nigerian government just came up with a policy to stop nurses at least migrating for the next 2 to 3 years. Those are not the kind of solutions we need. So, and when you look at it, we don't have experts in health policy that understand how policy works and all of that. So they just do things when blood rushes to their head, and they are very, what do you call it, reactionary instead of being proactive. So these are the many reasons I decided to go into policy, so I can be able to understand how it works and be able to, influence the development and implementation of real good policies that will help people, have good quality access to healthcare.
Wow, that's such a brilliant one. Okay, thank you so much for that. Thank you for if you are still joined, if you just joined us, we are on to Chukwu Otuto or Otiti. Sorry if I murdered that name. He has been talking about his background, about what his strong why is, and how he moved from being someone that has training in pharmacy into with National Assembly. Now let's go into a lot of opportunities, scholarships, fellowships, travel grants that you have received. I want to let me start from what do you think is let me not okay, let me not use the word secret, because people say that there's no secret to anything. So, or people used to say, what is the secret? But I don't want to use this word secret. But if you were to say there are 1, 2, or 3 things about you in particular that opens you up to these global and national opportunities, what could they be?
Okay, I'll summarize it this way. Have have a focus and a direction on what you want to do and stick to it. When people look at your track record and they've seen some form of consistency in your pattern, in your choices, in your career, they are more willing to trust you with their money or any other thing any other resource they are willing to give than someone that has been all over the place. what that tells people is that you're just looking for, I mean, where to maybe get your bread from, or you're just looking for any opportunity to jump at. But if you keep your focus and follow a particular line, it gives people that sense that this person that has a sense of direction. This person has a sense of purpose. And I will give some instances just to encourage people out there. And I'm not demeaning any of the people that have said things that were mocking to me earlier in life when I was starting. So after I finished pharmacy school, my dad is a pharmacist as well. I told you I had health professionals around me. My dad is a pharmacist and a professor. So it kind of like I have siblings that are medical doctors. I have uncles that are pharmacists and medical doctors. This is what influenced me to use health as an avenue to improve people's lives. Now, like I said earlier, there were many other things I could have done: community pharmacy, hospital pharmacy, product detailing. Those are nice, but I felt it's not in line with what I want to do. So when I decided to pivot into health policy and use research on health policy to, start building a case or setting agenda for what we need to consider in improving health systems in Nigeria and Africa, some of my classmates laughed at me. They were like, "What's wrong with this guy? You have all the opportunity to do whatever I want to do with this profession, and this is what you've chosen." I can even remember when I was doing my internship at my youth service, when I was in that division, the guy heading the division at the time, I wouldn't call his name, but you can Google him. He's currently the director general of NIPRID. People thought he was a tough guy because he was very disciplined and he has a very good work ethic. Like he's very strict with deadlines. So all of those made people to run away from that division. But it drew me more to the division. I was like, this is an opportunity for me to be principled, to grow along this line and all of that. So people were like, many of my colleagues were like jumping into community pharmacy, jumping into medical rep and all of that because there was money there, unquote, but the definition of money is something else or is different for different people and all of that. But I kept my focus. I kept going at that. I had an uncle, my mom's younger brother who lives in America, and he was like, "You're a pharmacist. Pharmacists earn a lot of money here. Come over to America and do your conversion and start practicing as a pharmacist." That's good. That's fine. But that's not what I wanted. I wanted to do more research, health policy related stuff. So I started going at it, even when it became very like everybody was convinced that I didn't know what I was doing, that I'm losing out on other opportunities to make money and all of that. But I kept my conviction. I kept looking out for opportunities. I even took up roles or jobs or gigs that were not even paying just for me to build my capacity and build that focus. So I kept on going along that line. And, when you look at my track record, you can see that it's been consistent along that line. So what I advise people to do, if you're looking for such opportunities, have some form of consistency. Ask yourself what you really want in life. I'm not saying that the path I took is what everybody should take. There are people in community pharmacy that are doing really well, depending on your definition of what doing really well is. There are people in other aspects doing really well, but you don't have to be all over the place. Maybe you try this today, it doesn't work, you just keep going around. Have a focus. Ask yourself what you really want. Determine this is what you want, and start establishing yourself along that line. Make sure that everything you do is taking you towards that choice you've made. It's taking you towards that moment where this is your vision lies. And once you're able to do this, once you're able to maintain that focus, the universe and the forces of life always has a way of aligning, and this has been my experience. And another thing is to keep things simple. The world we live in today, there are a lot of problems, and we always think of complex, that the solutions have to be complex. No, they have to be simple. Like the research I'm doing, all what I've proposed, all the grants I've gotten, even prior to my PhD, have been based on really, really simple solutions. You don't have to do anything elaborate. You don't have to. The more people can understand what you're saying, the more likely they are going to buy into your idea. So the key takeaways is keep your focus. Make sure everything you're doing is taking you towards that focus. Be very strategic. If you are seeking out opportunities, seek out opportunities related to that thing you want to do. Keep your solutions simple. make sure people understand what you're trying to say. Don't make it complex, and just watch everything align. There's no secret to it.
Wow. Thank you so much. Focus, direction, consistency, building track record, keeping things simple. I got something from here. The more people can understand what you're trying to do, the more they will believe in it and the more they will support you. Thank you so much for that insight. So let's go into how you get to know all these opportunities. Like you have told us that um, focus and direction and consistency and keeping things simple are some of the things that is giving you an edge or give that to global opportunities. But there could be some persons out there who already know what they're doing. They know what they're doing with their life. They have been building track record and tractions. They have been doing a whole lot of stuff. But it looks like they are not even seeing these opportunities coming from. They're not seeing them. So where do you get information about global opportunities?
So yeah, the information now is something that is everywhere. It's not hidden. There are a lot of resources and all of that. So I get my information from just searching online. I get my information from social media. You have to follow certain people, right? So for instance, if you're interested in my area in health policy, you have to be following people in that area that are doing work in that area. You have to follow them on social media, on LinkedIn, have a good LinkedIn profile, set it up, show what you've done, follow the right people on LinkedIn. They share lots of opportunities there. Even on Twitter, there are people that share opportunities on Twitter, job opportunities, um, opportunities for career advancement or furthering your education, maybe master's, PhD, other possible courses. People share those opportunities. Follow those people, engage with them. Okay, for instance, if I'm a professor now and I'm looking for master's and PhD students, and I put it on LinkedIn, I will most likely be drawn towards people that have been following and engaging with me for a while. So I know what this person does. Like if I post something, this person responds with something meaningful or asks, even if you don't have anything meaningful to respond to, you can ask a question. So follow these people, engage with them. They share opportunities. And most times the boss stops at their table. So, and they are the ones that decide. So if they share an opportunity and they see someone they've been engaging with on social media and the person presents an application towards that opportunity, they are most likely going to look at people like you first. Um, Again, it depends on what the opportunities are. So if you're looking for opportunities to further your studies, yes, I know there are scholarship websites and all of that. You can look at those. You can also look at the schools themselves. A lot of these schools have internal scholarships that are not publicized on these scholarship websites. You can go into the websites of those programs and look at their funding and grants page, and you see lots of opportunities there. And then you can start knowing how to, apply or structure your application. So the opportunities are not hidden, if you ask me. It's everywhere on social media. It's on companies, schools, organizations, websites. You just have to be patient and strategic enough to know who to follow, persons to follow, organizations to follow, know what their website is, always like keep checking what opportunities they are sharing, and then maybe observe a pattern with how the opportunities arise. So some people post opportunities once a year, some people is twice a year, and it's usually at a particular time. So you can target such opportunities and start preparing your application or preparing yourself to get ready so that when those opportunities come up, you are ready for them. And then you can do cold calls and cold emails. It's a thing now. You can just look at those people you are looking up to, or those people you want to pattern your lives after, or those people that share those opportunities. You can just send them like a random email, like, hello, I am this person, this is what I've done, or this is what I'm doing, and this is I see there is some form of intersection between what I want to do or what I'm doing and what you're doing. I would like to speak with you further and all of that. And then some will respond, some may not respond. That's fine, but some will respond, and you start building relationships from there. That's actually how I got into my PhD program. So my current supervisor is someone I've been following for a while, and
Wow.
her work is in global health. and related to what I'm doing. So I just sent a cold email. We set up a call. We just started talking, and that's how I started my program here at the University of Toronto. So these things are not just, I'm giving you practical experiences from my own experience, and these things work. Don't be discouraged. That's also one thing. So people give up really quickly. Maybe you send 1, 2, 3 cold mails, or you send 1, 2, 3 applications, you get rejections, and you're like, no, you're not doing this again. Ask yourself, why do you think you were not chosen? Why do you think you were not responded to? Then try to keep building your skill set, keep building yourself, and one day your time will come.
Wow. Thank you so much. I mean, these are practical steps. Like, there's no theory about it. It's straightforward. Search online, follow people, engage with them. You said something that the opportunities are not hidden. That means if you are not seeing them, most likely you are looking at it in the wrong place, right? So,
Yes.
I think one of the things you mentioned is engaging with the people that potentially have access to those opportunities. Now, we have a lot of social media platforms now. We have LinkedIn, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have TikTok, we have Instagram. Now, do you think that for people that are looking for global opportunity, there are some certain social media platforms they should prioritize on? If there are, what are they, and what specific things should they do on that platforms? I know you have talked about engaging with the people, following them, and engaging with their posts, asking questions, and intelligent question actually. So, but among all the social media platforms we have now, which specific one do you think should people who are looking to be to access global opportunities be more in terms of be more spend more of their time and resources on among all of the social media platforms we have?
Okay, so the two I would recommend is LinkedIn and Twitter. You can also have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, but of course, each social media platform appeals to a certain audience. So TikTok will probably appeal to Gen Zs that are looking to create entertainment stuff. You would rarely see maybe professors or organization heads being on TikTok because TikTok's algorithm is for entertainment and stuff like that. So I wouldn't recommend TikTok. Instagram is more like sharing pictures and stuff like that. I know some people that have posted opportunities on Instagram, but very rarely. So it's LinkedIn majorly and then Twitter. But most people now are leaving Twitter because of reasons we all know. It's becoming toxic there and a lot of things. But a lot of these people still use Twitter. So I recommend LinkedIn first and Twitter second. And then for Twitter, you also have to be like really careful what you post and repost, especially at this stage of our lives where we are trying to build a profile. Full disclosure, I'm also a victim of this. Sometimes I get carried away with my emotions. I love Nigeria so much that sometimes it pains me that things are going wrong. And I sometimes I'm just tempted to use a swear word at the whole thing and all of that. But I remember like my supervisor is follows me on Twitter and I follow her as well. The people I look up to, I follow most of them on Twitter. Some of them follow me back. What do you think if they see this comment? Or what do you think if they see you reposting something like this? So what you also do, aside from engaging with those people on your social media, also matters. If you must engage on those things or engage with those things, maybe you can have, I don't recommend people doing this, but in case you can't hold yourself, maybe you can have 2 Twitter profiles. One that you're using to, do your activism and, your
Yeah.
luta continua, and then your
Yeah.
professional profile and all of that. This
Mm,
advice also goes to me. Like if you go to my Twitter, especially during the election period, you see me.
mm,
I was really angry. Even this period, I don't post a lot anymore. I don't repost a lot, but it still annoys me that Nigeria, with all of the potential, we are still struggling with the things we are struggling. So you can still catch
understood.
me just being very, very emotional and angry and how things are going. But I still tone it down. I still don't use swear words. You won't see cuss words on my Twitter and things
Mm,
like that. So you can advocate, but be responsible about it. On LinkedIn, for me, it's purely professional and all of that. So LinkedIn one, then Twitter number two, and then be mindful of the things you post and share.
thank you so much. So, guys, you've had it all. LinkedIn, Twitter, if you're looking for global opportunity. But if you're a comedian or an entertainer, there's nothing stops you from having Instagram, TikTok. But for the sake of our discussion today, which is talking about looking at global opportunities, these are two places you should focus attention on, and you make sure that those social media platforms are optimized for opportunities. Now let's talk about mindset, Chukwu. Now, what would you have to tell some person? No, like you're talking now, some person like, oh, forget it, his dad was a pharmacy, he has even have an auntie in the US. But there are some persons that maybe they are the first generation to even try to ascribe to something that looks great, and there may be problem of mindset hindering them. A lot of persons thought some opportunities are some certain class of persons. So let's talk about mindset. What kind of mindset do you think that people should have towards global opportunities?
Okay. Yes, I like the background you gave, and I usually say these things because I need to make full disclosure about who I am and my background, so that um, for the purpose of what you just did. So yes, I might be considered to be privileged in that sense, but I also set out to be a man of my own. So if you go to my Facebook, so this year I decided to, because a lot of people have been reaching out to me to, tell them, like, maybe do, these scholarship webinars and all of that. And I felt like there are a lot of people doing that. So I always support a few of them, like Ralph, like Juwan, to do that. But I don't think we have to have a lot of people doing scholarship this thing. We can have a few people. But what I decided to share is the trajectory, some personal stories. And if you go there, you'll see some personal stories that are of things I've been through. Yes, I'm from a privileged background, but I decided to be a man of my own, aside what my family or whatever wanted me to do. So I took a path that was completely different from what my parents wanted and all of that. And I faced a lot of challenges that I struggled with on my own. At some point, I was even homeless when I left my home and moved to Abuja. I was duped by an agent. I was homeless. I didn't tell
Yeah.
anybody back home because I knew what the response would be. Come back home and start afresh. So I was like, no, I'll man this up and I'll figure it out myself. So yes, the privilege is there, but having privilege doesn't give you the mindset you need. And there are a lot of examples to show this. You see a lot of our politicians' children with a lot of privilege and a lot of money, and many of them are useless. Many of them are drug
That's
addicts. Many of them are a menace to society. They are not contributing anything. So you would think privilege gives you a positive mindset. No, it doesn't. What gives you a positive mindset is yourself. If you have to be able to self-motivate. You have to be able to focus. You have to be able to give yourself a sense of direction. Yes, having certain privileges helps because it reduces some pressure from you. So and I say these things with all sense of honesty and humility. Somebody that is not from a privileged background might find it difficult paying school fees and may need to take up jobs and have a more stressful life in school
that's
than somebody.
exactly. Sorry, you just mentioned that. Let me add it to it quickly because you're talking about focus and direction and consistency, right? So as you continue, let me add to this again. How can someone who maybe has to survive be focused? I somebody mistakenly said that to me. Say, okay, forget about that one. In Nigeria, you do what to bring money, right? So if you can also help us, throw more light on that as you continue. Sorry for interrupting.
No, no, no problem. And I like that you brought up, you included that as well. It's very difficult, trust me. I can't claim to have all the answers, but this is what I know from my experience and the experience of the people around me that also had some of those challenges. There is always a way if you are willing. There is always a way if you are willing. It's difficult. It's hard. Trust me. I had classmates that struggled to pay school fees. I had classmates that even when we graduated couldn't pay convocation fees and all of that to even get their certificates. And but somehow that school fees got paid. Somehow that convocation fee got paid. For some, I helped. for some, I rallied around and spoke to people around me. I'm like, I have classmates that are having this challenge. A little 5,000 can help, and all of this. And a few other people did that. There is always a way. That's what I found out from the universe. If you don't give up, there is always a way. So I don't know what that way is. I don't claim I don't know all the answers. I'm still growing. I'm still trying to figure things out. But what I know is that if you keep a positive mindset, I'm telling you, the universe has a way of aligning, you know.
mm,
And
mm,
my from my own experience, even though I had certain privileges, I still had to keep a positive mindset to navigate the path I'm navigating now. I still had to be strong. I've had my challenges. I've had, I'm doing a PhD now. I've had one or two back and forth with my supervisor. I've had other things in other aspects of my life that are trying to weigh me down. But I just keep, like, at some point I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to quit, and all of that. It's not worth all this stress. But I just take a step back, maybe take a walk, maybe sleep, and I wake up and I'm like, okay, let me just continue. Let's give it a shot. And I just keep nibbling at it, little progress by little progress. So there is no formula to these things, different strokes for different folks. But what I know applies to most people that I speak to, even the people I meet here that have gone through phases in life and they are doing so well right now. One thing keeps resonating. They kept the focus and they kept being positive amidst all of the challenges, and they just keep nibbling away. That opportunity will come. There is always a way, so long as you don't give up. That's what I've come to find out. Just be positive. That's my response to this. Be positive with your mindset. Be positive with your passion. Keep moving. Speak to people. Don't be ashamed to share your story. That's also one other thing I find.
mm,
People are
mm,
like ashamed and maybe too proud. Like, you're passing through stuff, but you don't
Tops,
want to
yeah.
share it with someone that can help because maybe you've built a profile, or maybe you don't want people to laugh at you because maybe you are poor on quote, though I have a problem with that word. But
Mm,
you don't want people to laugh at you, you don't want to share what you're going through. No, speak
mm,
to
mm,
people,
mm,
share, talk
mm,
to someone.
mm,
The few people I've helped, and the people I try to help within my small means, are people that have spoken up. I'm
mm,
not wealthy or anything, but if I have an extra 10,000 naira, I can easily spare it for someone that needs it. And that person has gotten help. But how will I know if you don't speak up? Your neighbor
mm,
in school or at home might even be able to help you with something. But because you've not spoken up, you've not said anything, you've not cried out, nobody will help you. And we see it even happening on social media, on Twitter. You just see people come and speak up about one challenge they are passing through. And
that's
everybody,
true.
people you don't know, rally round around you. You see people
Mm,
contributing 2,000 here, 5,000, 10,000. Before you know it, that problem is solved and you have excess. So
mm,
keep the
mm,
focus.
mm.
Don't give up. Keep nibbling away. Speak up when and if you have to. And somehow, there is always a way.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chukwu. So if you just joined us tonight, we are on Nichub Fireside Chats, the February edition, and with us tonight is Chukwu, and he has been talking about navigating global opportunities. He started from his own personal story, and he has told us what the mindset that you need to have to be able to access global opportunities are. And what one thing that he kept on saying is the fact that you need to have a positive mindset, and that if there is a will, there will always be a way. There is a way. He kept on saying that there is a way things come together to make it work for you. So we're supposed to have like a positive disposition towards global opportunities. Someone said that you will miss 100% of the shots you never give a try. Okay, so that's that. So let's go to applying for the opportunities. We have talked about the mindset. We have talked about how to look for the opportunity, how to assess the opportunities, how to position ourselves to assess the opportunities. Let's talk about the application process itself. First, my question at number one: what advice do you have for people who have the problem of not completing applications because of how stressful it is? Number two, when applying, what are some key things one needs to know I mean, do we need to understand the organizations? Do we need to how do we need to align our responses to applications? Because there are some persons that may be very good, but they don't know how to articulate their track record. They don't know how to articulate what they have done in the past, and some persons see it as a kind of proud. So, what is the line? So, okay, these are the question number one. Question number one is what what is the approach to application process? Like, what advice do you have to people who don't always complete an application? Number two is how can somebody, apply for opportunities in the way that the person's real or ideal tractions and impact the person have made out there is out there for everyone to see in total, and any other things that you feel you can share with us in with regards to applications.
So to your first question about people that find it hard completing applications because it's long and tedious, my response will be nothing good comes easy. Even in Freetown, there is no free food. Nobody will. If I have $1 million to give in scholarships, I will make sure I'm giving it to people that deserve it. I wouldn't just give it to anyhow people. I'll make sure that this person proves the reason why they deserve to get this money. And that's why those application processes are tedious. I mean, even you ask yourself, you're not doing giveaway. Like the people giving you the scholarships or giving you these grants, they're not doing giveaway. They want people that are serious and people that can do impactful and meaningful work, right? So that's why it's that way. So one way of surmounting that is something I pointed to earlier. Most of these opportunities have a specific time of the year when they come up. You can start ahead to prepare. You already have an idea what they are going to ask. It's not a new opportunity, it's been there, unless it's an opportunity that just launched today. But most opportunities that many people are targeting, the opportunities that have been there. So you can, if it's something that opens in September and closes in October, you can start planning from January, February, or March. You know that this thing is studios, you know what they require. Start at that time to start building your application, start collecting the required documents, the references if needed. So that when the time comes, all you have to do is to plug in the different parts of the application where with the information you have, and then you submit. Most people that run into that problem is people that wait for the opportunity to open up before they start looking for maybe references or documents to support the application. So start on time, start early to put these things together, to write down your thoughts, to synthesize it, and all of that. And then when the application opens up, it becomes a little bit simpler. So don't expect someone to give you a full scholarship for 5 years of PhD study, and the person wants you to just fill your bio.
Yeah,
It's not possible. The person will
that's
ask,
true.
what are you trying to do? What do you intend to
Mm,
achieve with this? So
mm,
that's it for the first one. Start early. Nobody gives you anything free unless you prove your worth. Then secondly, how do you apply for these opportunities and position yourself to get them? Like I said earlier, you should have a focus and follow a particular trajectory that is in alignment with that opportunity. Once people see that your profile, what you've been doing is in line with this, they know that you are focused and that this opportunity is made for you. That's one. Secondly, when you're applying, look at the requirements, so for instance, if you're applying for a job, they usually have responsibilities for that role. If you're applying for a scholarship, they usually have questions they want you to answer. And these responsibilities, if it's for a job, or questions, if it's for an application, there are keywords in there, right? So make sure that those keywords are reflected in what you're applying for. So for instance, if you're applying if it's a job for a role for an M&E officer, and they're looking for someone that has helped organizations develop M&E plans, key performance indicators, and all of that. You should be saying that in your application, that you've done so and so for so and so organization, you've helped them develop a KPI, you've helped them develop an M&E plan that they are still using, blah, blah, blah. Those keywords have to be there. Why am I saying this? I've been and I'm still in some positions where I evaluate applications, and thankfully for AI, it has made things easier for us. So that you are not the only one applying to the opportunity. There are hundreds, thousands applying for that, and there are only a few reviewers going through all of that. With AI now, it's now easier for us. So we just put in the application and tell it the keywords to use to sift those applications. So if you're not reflecting those keywords in your application, automatically has screened you out. And even if human beings are assessing it, if I read the first 2 or 3 lines of your application and I'm not seeing what we are looking for, I'm already moving it aside and looking at the next one because there is so much I have to do, right? So those keywords are important. Again, start with the main issue. So for instance, if the application question is like, what do you intend to do? Maybe it's for a PhD research and asking you what is the essence of your research. Don't start by saying, okay, for instance, my research is on improving access to cancer control. I wouldn't start by saying cancer is a disease that is killing millions of people in Africa. The person knows those things. Yeah, you're trying to build up to your reason. What you should start with is, I am trying to use intercollaborative, to use interdisciplinary and collaborative models of care to improve access to cancer control in low and middle income countries. That's the first thing you should put there, what you are doing. So the person has seen, okay, this is what this person is trying to do. Interesting. Let me read more to understand how he wants to do this. So start by the key point of what you're trying to do. If, for instance, the Mandela Washington Fellowship, for instance, I've been on that fellowship, and maybe they ask you, um, maybe give an example of a time you've used a particular leadership quality and all of that. The first line you shouldn't start by saying leadership is for people that are this thing. Yeah, no, don't start with story. Say that while I was in so and so position, there was a conflict involving this person, and I used this method of conflict resolution to ensure that this process ended this way. Then you can now
Wow.
start
Very simple.
explaining the
Very
process.
simple.
Very simple, straight, active, simple language. And people like jargon and all these things. Use very simple language, like I said earlier. The simpler you make things, the better it is. The applications I review, I'm telling you, they are not applications of people from health policy. So if you think the person reviewing your application is someone in your field, no, it's someone external. So you should be able to write something that people
Everyone
outside your
can
field, the
understand.
non-technical audience will understand. I've reviewed applications for road safety.
Wow.
I'm not a road safety personnel. So if you are saying something that is not simple for me to understand as an average citizen, all of a
Yeah,
sudden, your application will not go through, no matter, even if you have the best idea. And that's why some people, when they submit applications, they think it's watertight, like this is the best. It might actually be the best, but how you've presented it, you didn't go about it the right way. So start with hitting the points, be active in your response. This is what I'm trying to do. Then you can now start narrowing it down. If you're writing a statement of purpose, don't start with you grew up in a village where there is no light and there was only one computer in your Igwe's palace. That might be true, but that's not the first thing you should start with. You should start with the summary of what this statement of purpose is. You can start with maybe what your career goals are, why you want to apply to this scholarship, and what you intend to do. Just a summary. Then the body should now be elaboration
Stories.
of that summary. So if you've built a company, you've built a product, they should all be in that first line. I co-founded a non-profit. I co-founded a company that developed a medicines logistics platform where people easily access medicines. That should be the first things people are seeing. Then subsequently, you can now tell the story as to how that happened. But if you are telling the story from the start, and I have to start looking for where the punchline is, I don't have that time as an evaluator, and I'm going to skip your evaluation. So look, the summary is, look at the requirements, make sure that the language you are using matches what is in that requirement, like what they want you to say. Stick to the key points, be very active. Your first 2 sentences is what will catch the person review your application. Let it be a summary of what you're going to say in your application, or what you've done, or your achievements and all of that. Then one thing I see people doing, some of my friends that ask me, please, you have this scholarship, help me review my application. they don't blow their trumpet. Or maybe if they have a
Mm.
particular funding, they don't talk about it. Mm-mm. People will give you money when they've seen you've received money before and managed it well, or is
Mm.
managing it well.
Mm.
So people think that maybe, so for instance, I'm a Vanier scholar. I'm also a Michael Vector scholar. I'm also an IDRC scholar. Now, if I'm putting up any application, those are the first three things I will tell you. I'm holding this money already. And the people that gave me this money, they are not, you can see the scholarships, these things are, these are not anyhow organizations. So
Yeah,
if
that's
these
true.
people trust me enough to give me their money, you
Who are
should
you
trust
then?
me to give me your money. But
That's
people
true.
feel that if you hide these ones that you are holding, it will increase your they will say, this one does not hold, let them give. You know that I'm a Christian, so that passage of the scripture that says the one that has, the one that it will be taken from the one that does not have
They
and
don't
given
have
to
and
the
give it
one
to
that
the
has.
one
The
that has.
parable of the
Mm.
talents, the 5, the 3,
Mm.
and the 1. So the
Yeah,
5
that's
that doubled his own, they took from the one that didn't do anything and gave it to the one that was given 5 initially. That's how
mm.
life works. Most of the things
Mm.
we need, the basic principles are in the scripture for those that
Mm.
are Christians, or even in other books and all of that. So don't hide your achievements, blow your trumpet and showcase it. The more you showcase it, the more people trust you to be able to even give you more. So that's what I would say about that.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, if from what you just said now, that means the first, the best time to start preparing for a global opportunity is not when you want to apply for the opportunities, because you talked about you talked about achievement, right? Blowing your trumpet. But if what if you don't even have any achievement to blow? That means you should be preparing to make sure you have a traction before you even actually apply for something. I really get that. So, guys, we are coming close to the end of this, and if very soon we'll open the floor for question and answer. But I will not be doing a very good justice if I did not ask you this question, Chukwu. Tell us about the platform you created that is training young pharmacists in Nigeria, and that you providing funding for them. Tell us about it. Maybe there are some pharmacists here that, or someone who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that may want to be part of that opportunity.
Okay. So it's not a huge platform per se. Like I said, I'm only one person and I don't have any, it's not that I have millions kept somewhere. It's just a heart of giving and I just do as much as I can. So it's just something I do every now and then to support, pharmacy students. And I also support students from other what do you call it, courses or other programs, but my focus is on pharmacy for obvious reasons. I have a
Mm.
bias towards it as I'm a pharmacist. Yeah, so this platform is, I'll start with the latest one, which is with there's something called the Pharmaceutical Association of Nigerian Students, PANS. So they have what they call it, campus-based associations. That's for different schools that have pharmacists association for students. That's the PANS local or university level associations, and then there is the PANS National. So I work with the PANS National to give little funding for pharmacy students. So the last one was late last year or early this year, I can't remember. Either it was November, December, or this January, where it's just a little sum of 50,000 to about 8 pharmacy students.
Mm.
That
Mm.
program is running for 5 years, and I hope to maybe increase it to 10, 15 students as God provides. And then there's this other platform where I'm supporting my friend Juwon, who holds seminars for not just pharmacists, but people generally that are looking for opportunities for graduate school education. So we try to like tell them how it works, what you should do, how you should structure your application. And then we select maybe 5 of the best. I use 5 of the best because I don't have any other better way of explaining it. I'm very mindful of words I use, so it doesn't look like
Mm.
people are not trying their best.
Mm.
I said the best because some people are more prepared than others. So
Uh,
if, for instance, I want to go to graduate school, you want to go to graduate school, and you have all your documents ready, the only thing holding you is maybe the application fee. I will most likely consider you than consider someone like me that maybe does not even have his transcript or anything. So when I say
that's true.
5 of the best, that's what I mean. So pick 5 of the best. That means the 5 that are ready. And then I help to offset the application fees.
Wow,
So
wow,
to
wow.
these colleges abroad. So I mean, it's nothing very structured. It's just as little as I can from my savings or from the little extra I have to just help and support, you know. So it's not like I have one program like this one where every month we bring people, and no, I don't. It's very, very unstructured. So I prefer to work with PANs. I prefer to work with programs like yours. So for instance, if you people have maybe like what you people are doing is very excellent, and maybe if you people have like maybe a group of students, maybe 5, 10 students that are trying to access an opportunity and it's not working, or maybe they are trying to, maybe they're in the final year of their this thing and they are not able to pay their school fees. Maybe I can collaborate with you and we can help a few of them. I can't help everybody. Like I said, I'm not done with
Yeah,
this son.
that's true.
I don't have more. Yeah, so we can just collaborate and pick maybe 4 or 5 people and say, okay, we're going to pay your school fees for your final year so that you can maintain that focus I told you about, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
maintain that positive mindset and know that there are people out there that actually care for you and want things to be easier for you.
Yeah.
So I can do that with your organization or with what you people are doing. If you people have people like that,
Wow.
so that's just how I do it. Nothing structured or anything.
Wow, thank you so much. I mean, I like the way you keep things simple. I mean, it's simple, even though it's not structured, but it's impactful. You don't know what it means for some persons to have like someone to offset their application. You know, I know some person who for a long time couldn't apply for international PhDs because, especially that one in the US, because they can't afford the 50, the $75, the $150, and that you're doing can mean it's something that is going to change somebody's life forever. So it may be unstructured, but then I mean it's actually a great impact. Thank you so much, and definitely we are going to reach back to you
Yeah, yeah, reach out
on
to
the
me.
last time we hinted about.
Yeah, reach
Okay,
out to me.
thank you
Yeah,
so
reach out
much.
to me. Yeah, I don't know
Okay,
who the audience, who the people in the audience. I don't know if they are maybe graduate school applicants. I don't know who they are. But if you have people
the
that are
yeah.
ready to submit a graduate school application and they are, what is keeping them is that 50, 75, $100 for the
Mm,
application fee. I can support the organization in helping up to 5 of
wow,
them.
wow,
Yeah.
that is brilliant. So you guys are hearing now. So after this
Thank
you
you,
can
sir.
okay, Israel, you're there. So now
Thank
this is
you
time
so
for
much, sir. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
huh? Thank you. All right.
Welcome.
So this is time for questions and answers. Do you have any question? You can raise your hand now, and or if you prefer to type it, you can type in your questions. And so this is time for question and answer. While we are typing and we are waiting for hands to be raised. Okay, we have someone already raising their hand. Who is that? Please, Israel, can you help me coordinate that? Can you see whose hand is raised from there?
Yes, I can see.
Uh,
Sunday, you can go ahead. Unmute yourself, please.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chukwu. It's my privilege to, like, I'm privileged to meet you and be part of this meeting this evening. Thank you, Mr. Nicholas. It's nice seeing your face again after a long time. My question is, I've been applying for several opportunities, which I know I'm very qualified for, and somehow I do my research well and I get to put up the applications, but somehow it doesn't really come through. So I don't know, could there be anything I've been doing wrong that maybe from your wealth of experience you could share where these possible flaws could be coming from that I can adjust? Thank you.
Can you give me like an example of one such opportunity, like the type of opportunity?
Okay, the first is like the Mandela Washington fellowship you spoke about. Also like Mastercard Foundation scholarship. I've applied twice. I just got a love letter last week, and of course I applied for a couple of other ones. and I got some rejections. Of course, I've learned over the years by applying, and I get to adjust. But I think there's something I'm still doing wrong that I need to learn.
Okay, so I'll use the Mandela Washington one as an example because I've been on that fellowship.
Okay.
So first of all, there are over 12,000 people that applied to that fellowship, and they need just 700. So the acceptance rate is even tougher than getting into Harvard. So it's tougher getting into Mandela Washington than getting into Harvard. So have that in mind. And these 11,000 people are as amazing as you are, but there is only a spot for 700 people. So the things I'm about to say may not apply to you, but what I'll tell you is that it's not don't take it as a bad or as a reflection of you not doing something nice. So I will give you my experience from some of the other things we review. Sometimes we have loads of applications that we've gone through. We just have like maybe 50 spots, and we have 150 people that are super qualified. I'm trying to tell you this. I'm not saying other people do it, but we draw lots at the end of the day.
Wow.
So at some point, it boils down to just sheer luck, not because they are not doing amazing work, but because there is just so little for a lot of people. So that's one. Then secondly, maybe you can go back and think about some of the issues I've also raised. Are you hitting the nail on the head? What is the first thing people are seeing? Like I said, there are over 12,000 people applying for Mandela Washington, for instance. I don't know the number of reviewers, but I can tell you they are not a lot. Sometimes they even email some of us that are previous fellows to help support with review of applications. That's how tough it is to get people to review these applications. And remember, we are all busy people. We are all trying to, work, struggle, do a lot of things, right? So imagine someone like me now I have my PhD, I have work, other things, and then maybe I decide to volunteer to review Mandela Washington applications. I want to be very quick at it. So if I look at the first two responses and you have not said you've not hit the nail on the head, you're not giving me punchlines, you're not giving me sound bites, I've already dropped your application, no matter how the end looks. So check and see if what you're saying, your first two sentences, is what will be catchy. And then share your application before you submit. Share what you've written to someone else and ask them their opinion. They might see things that you've not considered or things you think would be nice to put in there that are not nice, that at the end of the day might not be so helpful. And last but not the least, with things like Mandela Washington, I don't know much about MasterCard because I don't know much about it, but with things like Mandela Washington, you want to maintain consistency with your response. So if they ask you, if your response to the first question is about your leadership quality, and you use an example working in government for that response, please make sure that the remaining 5 or 6 responses, if I recall correctly, are in line with you working with government. Don't tell them about another time you worked with private sector or when you went to volunteer in your community or anything. Make sure what you're saying is consistent from number 1 to number 6, so they can see that all your experiences within that particular sector. If it is within the business track, if it's within civil society, and you pick an example, use that setting for all your answers for them to see that consistency. That is one trick of quickly getting into the Mandela Washington Fellowship, and I'm sure it will also apply to other programs.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Thank you
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, so Ajogo, you raised your hand sometime. Do you want to mute and ask a question now, or we'll move to someone else?
I mean, thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Chukwu. I enjoyed the talk, and I've also learned a lot from all you said. So my question is not related to applications directly, but you mentioned something about writing on on Twitter, for example, or on LinkedIn, and then maybe you have people on your timeline that you think that they may look at what you have written, and then for that you may not want to air your view on maybe issues that bother your country or something. So I have a question on that. If what you are saying, for example, is what will make your country better, even though you know that, of course, I'm also from Nigeria, and there are people that they know the right thing to do, but they have their person in power and they don't want you to talk bad about the person. And some of them are on your timeline, and also maybe they are your supervisors, for example, or some people that can recommend you for something. And then, do you hold back your opinion on national issues because of things like that? I just want you to clarify on something like that. Not using abusive words, of course, but saying important things that will make your country better, for example. Of course, we all get emotional about Nigeria, but in this sense, you are not just emotional, but you are just stating facts. Even though you know that your boss, for example, is supporting, for example, the person in power who is not doing well, and you want to mention something like that on your, because of course you cannot go to NTA, for example, these days to say something, but you can say it on your timeline. So I mean, I just want you to buttress on that aspect.
Okay. Thank you, Ajogu, for the question. And I think part of the answer is also in your question. So where you said, so long as you're not being abusive, yes, that's the key thing. So you can air your views. I'm not saying you shouldn't air your views or anything, but be emotionally intelligent about it. Be diplomatic as much as possible, especially maybe if you have a boss or something that follows you and holds a contrary. So maybe you're supporting Tinubu or your boss is not supporting Tinubu. So it doesn't mean that you shouldn't air your views. You should air your views, but your answer is in your question. You will be constructive about it. You will stick to the facts and don't be abusive. Like you can't just go on social media and say your president is a stupid man. If you go to my timeline, you might see something like that during the election or after the election and all of that. I'm not saying I have it all together and anybody does, but I'm just advising. It's like you said, we're all emotional about Nigeria, but you have to be emotionally intelligent about how you hear your views. You have, like I said, I've disagreed with my supervisor on a lot of issues. In fact, I can even show you a WhatsApp chat we had as recent as yesterday. But you will just see that this is more like a dialogue and not necessarily a fight. Like you have your opinion about this. This is what I think about this. And the way you present it matters. So long as you are being emotionally intelligent about it, it's more like a dialogue and not a confrontation. And what you are stating are verifiable facts. You can go ahead and present it. Just present it in a way that it wouldn't be abusive and that you haven't used words that could be misinterpreted or used against you in the future. So that's what I mean. I still air my views. I still say things about how badly run the country is. But when you read it, even if you're a Tinubu supporter or anything, you will see that I've not insulted you or said anything that is wrong in that tweet. It's left for you to bring your own counter argument. I bring my own. We're having it as a dialogue for us to see where each other could be wrong or right.
Thank you so much. I think that's clear enough. Mr. Israel, do we still have another person? Do you still have another question? We can take one or two then because we are already reached.
Okay. I've not seen anybody's hand. But let's see if anyone would raise their hand. Any other question before we call it a day? It's been an exciting.
Yeah, I think we should call it a day now because there's an adage that goes in my language that what is too sweet, you don't eat it for a long time. You don't eat too much of it, right? So thank you so much, Chukwu, for having you this evening. I love the simplicity with which you respond to our questions and you made the whole thing look so simple. It looks like the way you just spoke there, it looks like I can just pick any application right now and apply and just make sure I do my best and I'll get it. And I love that. I love that. If there's anything I'd love tonight, is the fact that it mustn't be complex to be impactful. Thank you for your simplicity and thank you for your time. Guys, he's doing this for free. We do not take it for granted at all. I could tell you that we have reached out to some persons and they have given us quotation of how much it will cost us to have them in 1 hour, in 30 minutes. And so we do not take it for granted that you're doing this for free. I know how busy PhD could be, and you decided to leave it to do this for us. I mean, that's actually a mind of impact. And thank you so much. We'll have you again subsequently. And I'm very sure that they will want to have you again because there is a whole lot from where this is coming from tonight. Well, we can't take it further than this. Thank you and God bless you. So, guys, with this, we come to the end of this month's episode of Fireside Chat. If you want to be in touch and to be part of the subsequent one, you can always follow the link that is sent to your mail if you have registered. If you have not registered, if you know anyone, please follow us. But the last before we go, please, can you tell us what your social media handles are? I know there are some persons here that want to actually jump on the opportunity to follow and to learn from you personally.
Okay, I will. Let me just copy the links on the chat. So
Brilliant.
I'll put my LinkedIn, my Facebook, and my Twitter, because those are the three I use more often. I only use Instagram when I want to laugh. So I just go there and I watch like funny reels. Maybe when the pressure is too much, I go there and I watch funny reels and yeah, but apart from that, I use LinkedIn is the one I use the most. I used to be active on Twitter but just during the election. So if you see me shouting, just know it's just a passionate Nigerian that is tired and wants to come back home. But the government is not letting him. So yeah, those are my social media handles. And please feel free to reach out if there are people within this network that maybe applying to grad school and maybe they are having that problem or challenge with paying application fees. I can commit to your organization to support 5 people.
Wow.
And maybe a few other people with a few other issues. That's fine.
That's brilliant. All right, thank you so much. So the links are already on the chat, and we are going to also share it with you in the subsequent email that follows this, as well as the link to this discussion. Thank you so much, guys, for coming tonight. We are super excited having you. See you again next week, and thank you, Chukwu, Otuto. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nicholas. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much, Chukwu.
Thank you so much.